Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Today, we're talking about something I see all over social media, in politics, and even in everyday conversation. Why do so many white Americans misread Black Americans' responses, especially now during this recent political climate? People keep asking, why aren't Black people panicking? Why aren't y'all crying? Why aren't you outraged? The answer is simple. They're interpreting Black behavior through their own emotional framework, not ours. Let's break it down. But before I do break it down, Black people are behaving differently now than we usually respond. We usually get upset. We usually act out. We usually take to the streets. There's a march, there's a this, and there's a rally, and there's a that. But this time, no, we're not. And this is unusual. So it makes sense that they will wonder what is happening with Black people. A lot of white Americans come from emotional cultures where distress is verbal, fear is expressed openly, political anxiety is shared publicly, and emotions are processed out loud. Let's all remember January 6th when they stormed the Capitol and threatened the vice president, and that got pardoned because apparently they understand each other. So when Black Americans respond with calm, silence, humor, or we've seen worse, it gets misread as apathy, confusion, or not understanding the moment. We understand the moment very well. We understand the moment better than they do. But what they're actually seeing is emotional discipline, a survival skill passed down for generations. So, I understand white people not understanding how Black people are acting in this moment. Because if you're on social media, or even if you're on cable TV, you see that white people are as upset, more upset really, about the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act than Black people are. But they don't care so much about Black people hurting. Well, maybe they do, but what they're really concerned is that the Supreme Court is taking something that was supposed to be settled law and turned it into something else, just like they did abortion rights. They are taking settled law and turning it into whatever they want it to be. And that is why white people are so upset. They're not upset about the voting because half of them don't vote anyway. When I've taught white boys, they routinely said their fathers didn't vote. Their fathers said they were all crooked anyway. But what these white people are concerned about is that they see the system that they have relied on being handled like somebody's own personal agenda, which is what it is. So they're upset about it, but we're not because the Supreme Court has never been our friend, and neither really is the Congress. So we've had to be our own best friends. So white people are reacting to this like it's brand new. Black people are reacting like this is Tuesday. Black Americans have lived through segregation, racial terrorism, political betrayal, surveillance, mass incarceration, voter suppression. We know all the tricks, and we've survived all the tricks, and we'll survive this one too. So when white Americans panic and Black Americans don't, it feels shocking to them. But Black Americans aren't numb, we're experienced. For decades, Black pain has been televised, studied, debated, and used as political leverage. So when Black Americans don't publicly cry, rage, or panic, some white Americans interpret it as they must not be worried. They must not understand what's happening. But Black Americans are simply refusing to be the country's emotional labor force again. This is a boundary, not a lack of feeling. We feel bad. I mean, what the Supreme Court did was wrong, as far as I'm concerned. What they did to Dred Scott and his family was wrong. The Fugitive Slave Acts were wrong, and they passed two of them. So I don't want to get into what the Supreme Court has done to hurt Black people because it would be quite a bit. But we've learned some lessons along the way in dealing in this political system. We have learned that reacting publicly can be weaponized. They'll use your very anger against you, even though you have the right to express that anger by the Constitution. Still and all, they'll use it against you. Outrage can be used against you. Panic can be exploited, and emotional visibility can be dangerous. So now we're choosing quiet observation, emotional containment, strategic distance, and wait and see. Let's see what is all going to happen. Let's see what the white folks are going to do because they're the ones upset now. And they are upset. And when they upset, they know how to turn up too. They know how to pull up too when they get mad. That's why they need to get mad. The other side of white America needs to get mad. And that's what I've been saying all along. White Americans have to do this. White Americans misread our reaction as indifference because they don't understand the strategy behind it. But they're going to turn up before it's over. I have a feeling that white people are going to pull up, turn up, or whatever you want to call it before it's over because if they don't, America is going to be headed down a slippery slope for a long time. So it really is kind of funny because white people are thinking, well, if I feel unsafe, Black people must be terrified. And they feel unsafe right now because this is a weird political climate. But we're not terrified. Black Americans are not reacting from the same place. White fear is often about losing stability. Black calm is often about having survived instability. So these are two different emotional histories for two different interpretations of the same moment. So here's my conclusion. White Americans misread Black emotional response because they expect Black people to react the way they would, openly, loudly, and visibly. But Black Americans have centuries of experience managing political hostility, so we respond with calm, strategy, and emotional discipline. What looks like silence is actually wisdom, boundaries, and survival intelligence. See, it's not going to help us to get all mad because Black people have been saying they want us to take to the streets so they can institute martial law. That's what they want to do, but they'll be doing that to control white people too. But they'll be using Black people as the incentive, and that's why we are not taken to the streets. But they'll do it, and then they'll say, well, we did it because the Black people are out of control. So they'll be blaming us for doing something that they want to do to everybody. Because when that other leg of the white race gets mad, and they haven't gotten mad yet, but if they get mad, it's going to be ugly up in here. That's why they don't like to make white people mad. That's why they use Black people to do all this low down stuff that they want to do and blame all of it. Well, we did that because of the Black people. So that the white people will feel like, well, they're doing it because of the Black people, and the Black people ought to behave themselves. But I think that the white people are catching on now because that's what they've been doing all the time. But now, when white people get mad, when that other leg of the white race drops, it's going to be ugly. That's what the Civil War was. The other part of white people got mad and they won the war. But you see what it takes. See, all these little shenanigans these people are doing is because white people are not pushing back. But when the other group of white people push back, then we're going to see something. And we're going to see something that's going to be really ugly. But they are trying to contain themselves now. But I want them to turn up. I want to see what it's going to be. But anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about this video and have a good day.